guys, it's Amy from Colorado Mountain Living. So we got our lumber delivery for our ceilings this week. Woo! Really exciting. And half of it's inside here on the floor. So we've got some stacked up tongue and groove pine and another stack right here of cedar boards. The cedar boards are going to go in the master closet. But for some reason they seem to have sent a longer dimension than what we ordered. They just seem really long, like 12-foot boards, and I think Bryan only ordered 10-foot. But anyhow, we have to cut these to size before we put them in the master closet. And right now the master closet's a big storage closet, so that might be a project for me this evening. Bryan's going to show me. He wants to measure each board separately because he's not sure if the walls are consistently. He's just not sure if the wall measurements are consistent. And you know Bryan, he likes to have everything just so. So, in the meantime, for the tongue and groove ceiling, this is just 1/2-inch pine, so it's not quite as sturdy. I moved it up a bunch of bundles up into the loft. So what I've got going on up here is a couple of sawhorses. And first step is actually we have to have these boards dry out because when they were delivered yesterday, there was a lot of blowing snow and everything got soaking wet. So I'm letting the boards dry out right now before I polyurethane them. So I've got a setup on the sawhorses, and then I've got a little drying rack on the floor. So there's a couple little 2x3s right there. But right now everything's just drying because it got wet from the snow. But it looks like, yeah, there's still some wet ones. Some were a lot more, you can see how dark this wood is. It's still pretty wet. So some were more wet than others. That one especially, that was actually had a layer of ice on it when we brought it inside. So letting the boards dry out, and then I'm gonna put them up here and do the polyurethane so we can be ready to go for the weekend for installation. It's gonna be tricky doing the installation because all the kitchen cabinets are in the way. So try to pull them away from the walls and group them in the center, but maybe we can stick up our ladders this way, and we'll be able to get this little area done. This would be awesome if we could finish the kitchen this weekend, and that way we can install the cabinets and the stove that's hanging out over in the corner over here. And then we'll have a real kitchen and a bathroom. And so we're getting closer. All right, guys, we have a lot of lumber, and I'm trying to make use of it. So I'm polyurethaning upstairs, and in the the drying time, I'm going to surprise Bryan by getting a head start on putting up the cedar wall in the closet. So I watched him do the tongue and groove on the bathroom area and the flooring upstairs. So I kind of know the technique of using the pneumatic stapler, finishing nailer, as well as nailing so you don't see the staples. So you want to do that into the tongue part. But it's kind of my first try working on something independently, like with all the measuring and cutting of wood. I think I got the basic skills, like know how to read a tape measure, I know how to operate a saw, I know how to hold a nail gun. So anyway, I'm giving it a try, and I'm texting Bryan to giving him a heads up just in case he has any objections. But he said he's the one that suggested I could go for it, so I'm gonna go for it. And he just said make sure everything's straight and try to get as flush to the drywall as you can, and measuring each board up because sometimes the widths of the walls change. So I'm starting to notice that. I haven't had to recut anything though. I think we're going to put a little bit of trim, maybe like an inch or two. I think that would look nice to frame it out, but we'll see how it turns out. So I'll show you it's a little confusing because some of these boards are tongue and groove pine for the ceiling, and those are still wrapped in bundles, but the loose stuff is all cedar. So this is tongue and groove cedar, and this is what the wall of our master closet's going to be. Right now the closet is a big, huge storage space. So I'm working with the tape measure and the chop saw and the pneumatic air gun, which is in here. This is just everything on the floor. So first step is to make my measurements and then make my cuts. So because I'm working in an enclosed space, I have to flip my board around so I actually can make the cut with the saw, because without everything in the way here, there's only one place I can put the saw and the boards and make these cuts because the boards are so long. Well, it looks like I already got the first couple of boards in place, guys, but I just wanted to get a good start before I got my momentum to carry it along. So I'm trying to get a good fit, making sure that the seam is all the way across the tongue in the groove without any openings or gaps. That's the main thing that Bryan said to look out for. And trying to find the very best place to place that staple. Initially, I picked up the gun that had the staples in it instead of the nails, but it did a pretty good job so far. But occasionally I would come into a gap, and so I was using a little sliver of the tongue and groove flooring and sort of using the heavy chisel here to kind of bang down on the boards to get them to fit more flushly. So that's the technique I was using to make sure to have as minimal gap as possible between the boards. All right, guys, I've been working for a while, so I'm going to show you how far I've come with the wall. Just a few planks. And there's not good lighting in here, but we'll see what we can do. So getting past it, let's just ignore all the storage and just look at the beauty of the cedar, how pretty that is. And I can tell you, I've been cutting it up and it smells really nice as well. Now, the edge is cut and looking pretty good over here, but it's a little bit more gapped on this side. And I think that's what Bryan is wanting to really avoid, is having it get more and more gappy. So I'm going to start remeasuring. I think it would look good with a little piece of trim. Like he was saying, go all the way across. Just go all the way across with the boards. But I think it would look good with a little piece of trim going all the way up, don't you? I might stop at that plug. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm stopping right here because I actually kind of have a little bit of a mistake on the outlet. I've got some extra space there, and I think I'm going to let Bryan decide what he wants to do about that. I'm thinking we could easily cut a little, 2-inch piece and then kind of glue it in underneath there, because the outlet plate doesn't quite cover the whole hole. So anyhow, so I think plus it's getting a little hard to reach anyway. So I think this is a good stopping point for me. And then we'll see if we can catch Bryan's reaction when he comes to check it out. Now you get to see what I've been doing all day, even though I didn't really finish the job. And remember, the top board isn't nailed down. It's just I put it on there.
Yeah. Okay.
So
looks good.
Looks like almost like I knew what I was doing.
Yeah. But we'll still put trim on the corners.
Well, yeah, that's what I was counting on.
If we got enough, we'll redo this because we'll just cut the hole out.
Okay.
Because otherwise, we just gotta. Well, I don't know.
We could glue in a little piece above, because here's the thing.
Yeah.
But you'll have to route it out because it doesn't. sink in. See what I'm saying? It's a little bit not flush with the outlet.
Well, what we should do is pull the outlet out.
Yeah, I thought of that too. I thought we could pull out the outlet.
Yeah, we can just
Pull
we can just take the whole thing out, and then once we glue that in, just screw it on there. That's what we normally do. The box doesn't have to come out. So
Oh, just take the screw.
just screw these out.
Yeah. There's a little bit of an overlap
And then,
though.
yeah,
There, like a millimeter. Like it
so
was.
we can pull it out,
Right.
so it'll lean up against that, and then this should be okay.
So that's why I stopped there.
We might have to put a little piece of this on the bottom. That's right. It was like perfect.
I know.
Stopped right there.
I know. I was like, I gotta do one more row.
Normally, what I would do is I would have left this hole and just cut the square or rectangle out.
But yeah, I was thinking that if I cut it out, it would have been like a 1/2 inch holding that giant board. I was like, how am I not gonna break this?
Well, no, you would have had a big chunk up here.
I know, like a 1/2 inch though.
No, you would have had at least an inch from there up.
Okay.
You would have had a little tiny piece here.
No, I wouldn't even had it. I would have left it open on the bottom. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I wouldn't have. I would cut it straight across.
Oh. Well. Guess we have different styles. Smells pretty good though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's kind of fun. I was having fun with it.
good because you get at me. Because this is like a 2-person job.
Yeah, the ceiling.
Yeah.
Well, do we have 2 hoses?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm a good construction partner. I can earn my keep.
Yes. It's nice to come home to stuff done.
Yeah, here. Not bad for my first cedar closet wall, right? It's only half a wall though.
I think it's recording.
Well, here we go, folks, with the wall all finished up. And Bryan helped navigate around the plug a little bit. We just put in about a 2-inch plug. We'll put that in right above the outlet there. You can see it's more to size than it was. And he put in the next few rows, and then I did about 3 or 4 more, and then he did the final upper rows. But I cut the rest of the boards for him, and he put the final rows in because they were high up above my head, and so we finished it out last night. And so that was a really good practice because the next thing we're doing is getting the kitchen ceiling done. It's the same concept, tongue and groove with pine, just a little bit more overhead work. So overall, it was definitely a big experience for me, a big confidence builder to be able to put up some boards and get more experience measuring, cutting, and using the pneumatic air gun. So I think it's built my confidence up so I could probably do some other projects, maybe a little bit of flooring, or probably most likely helping Bryan with the ceiling in the kitchen. That sort of wraps up our projects for the week, and we're trying to get some videos out, but we've got so many projects going on that it's hard to work and edit videos at the same time. So we've got the whole weekend dedicated to the kitchen and the ceiling, and maybe we'll get to the cabinets. We'll see what happens, but thought you guys would enjoy sort of what I've been up to. Bryan's working away. So we're going to have a big transformation in the next few days, so stay tuned. We'll keep you guys posted, and thanks for joining us on this. And I'd love to hear what you think of the cedar wall. All right, bye-bye. Getting started, and we're getting that woodworking done, so we're gonna have this big transformation in the next few days. So we're gonna have a big transformation.